Good to have you back. Now, there's a lot to recommend about this film. It's a tense drama, dripping with symbolism, filled with layered meaning and incorporating some groundbreaking cinematography. It is from one of the world's great directors, working with an ensemble cast made up of the stars of their day. It is High and Low from 1963. The film's story is based on the novel King's Ransom by Evan Hunter, who wrote under the pen name Ed McBain. In 1962, McBain adapted his novel into an episode for the TV series 87th Precinct, with the central role played by film noir veteran Charles McGraw and his character's wife played by the future First Lady Nancy Reagan. For this film, director Akira Kurosawa had two intentions when developing it: to provide commentary on what he saw as the leniency of the Japanese judiciary towards kidnappers, and to explore the motivation of a kidnapper and their demands for a ransom. The film stars Toshiro Mifune in the role of Gondo, the businessman father whose child has been kidnapped. Also appearing are Kurosawa regulars Yutaka Sada and Tatsuya Nakadai, as well as cameos by many of his popular stock performers, making the star-studded cast one of the film's best remembered features. High and Low, more literally translated from Japanese as Heaven and Hell, also dabbles in social commentary, taking on corporate greed as well as providing an unforgiving account of class difference in post-war Japan. The film's story is told in two parts. The first half revolves around locating and retrieving the kidnapped child, while the second half is a detective story that centres on tracking down the kidnapper. After the film was released, kidnappings in Japan actually increased, with Kurosawa himself receiving threats over the kidnapping of his daughter. He had said, "With High and Low I wanted to inspire tougher sentences on kidnappers. Instead I was criticised for their increase." Now, while some have called this a film noir, it's not, for a number of reasons. It's positioned at the other end of the social strata, with the focus on the story's more wealthy family rather than the dirtier world of the impoverished kidnapper. It lacks other distinguishing features such as moody cinematography, dingy backstreets, multiple desperate antagonists, and most notably, there's no femme fatale. There are, however, a number of touches that make this unmistakably a Kurosawa film. It features a heavy downpour, an event that he often used to increase the intensity of the scene or the situation, and his trademark use of multiple cameras all shooting simultaneously. This created more naturalistic performances from his actors, who had to play their scene rather than play to a particular camera. It also gave Kurosawa the option of choosing the most appropriate or inventive camera angle, a method that helped him to create both engaging scenes and uniquely composed sequences. It gave his films a unique look and feel. Kurosawa is notable for his ability to seamlessly blend entertainment with ideology, and in this film he tackles a wide range of subjects. Corporate greed is prominent early in the film before the kidnapper appears, and the theme lingers, expressed through the behaviour of the businessmen who look after their own interests while simultaneously trying to scam the public. Kurosawa's treatment of the kidnapper is sympathetic. As the story progresses, we see more and more from his point of view as a part of the key theme of the film, the difference between those up high and those down low. This is established early using the windows of Gondo's home as the vantage point from which to look down. The first half of the film takes place entirely in Gondo's luxury home, which is high up on a hill looking down on the ugly streets below. The separation between these two worlds is underlined when Gondo opens an exterior door. Noise floods in before being quickly silenced when he shuts the door again. The transition from high to low comes when the police begin their investigation. The camera follows two police officers briefly before locking onto the reflection in a heavily polluted river. This is when we meet the kidnapper. Following him to his home, where he opens a window revealing Gondo's house, and at this point we realise that he lives in everyday squalor, permanently in the shadow of Gondo's luxurious home. Gondo's transformation over the course of the film is significant. In the beginning, he is calm and in control. He sits leisurely, smoking a cigarette, and when the kidnapper calls, things begin to crumble. No longer in control, he begins to pace, then distances himself from the others. In the final confrontation scene, he is completely broken down, showing little emotion during his conversation with the kidnapper, even sympathising with him. The film has an anti-American flavour despite Kurosawa and American director John Huston sharing a mutual admiration, and Kurosawa being a fan of American westerns, films that influenced him as much as he influenced westerns that followed him. Akira was troubled by American influences in Japan, highlighted by the way the two young children run around the house and play. Even in the bar in the red light district, it's filled with Americans listening to American music. The last section of the movie originally had a great deal of dialogue, but Akira Kurosawa decided to omit all of it, which is both dislocating and highly effective. Music too is used symbolically. When the kidnappers first appear, Franz Schubert's Trout Quintet is heard in the background. The music references the story of a clever trout which time and time again escapes a fisherman until the fisherman catches him with a ruse. A story that foreshadows the police closing in on the kidnapper. The film was critically well received. The Washington Post wrote that High and Low is, in a way, the companion piece to Throne of Blood. It's Macbeth, if Macbeth had married better. The movie shares the rigours of Shakespeare's construction, the symbolic and historical sweep, the pacing that makes the story expand organically in the mind. Stanley Kaufman of the New Republic wrote, 2 hours and 23 minutes of fine entertainment are not a commonplace achievement. Although from the opening frame, literally to the last, Kurosawa never makes the smallest misstep, nor permits it in anyone else. The film was nominated for a Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival in 1963 and for a Golden Globe in 1964 for Best Foreign Film. It has been highly influential. Quentin Tarantino gets the idea for his famous swing dance scene from this movie. When the kidnapper is at the bar meeting to score some snuff, and he dances with the seller as they make their exit to a similar swing song and the exact same dance featured in Pulp Fiction. In 1999, Martin Scorsese announced that he would be directing a remake with David Mamet writing. In 2008, Scorsese again announced he would now just produce the film with Mike Nichols directing, but a remake is still no closer. In 2009, Japanese film magazine Kinema Junpo voted it the 13th greatest Japanese film of all time. So reasons to watch this particular film. It's a simple story, but it's so well told with a lot of complexity built into it, which is fascinating. It is a Kurosawa film, and it has that distinctive Kurosawa touch, and it's beautiful to look at. And again, a fine performance by Toshiro Mifune. The pairing between him and Kurosawa produced many great films, and this is just another of those. So what I'd suggest you do is go to our website, find our virtual screenings page, find the link to this particular film and click on it and watch it. And as always, we'd invite you to come back, let us know what you thought about the particular film and whether you'd recommend it to others. And then we'll see you again in the not too distant future for our next classic films review. Catch you next time.